G'day guys, welcome to my review of the big doubleheader of this weekend. Of course, it started with OPETAIA and Jordan Thompson, followed by CANELO, ALVAREZ and JERMELL, CHARLO. So, well, the OPETAIA Jordan Thompson fight, well, you would have seen in my review, I actually picked, or preview I should say, that I picked OPETAIA by decision or late round stoppage. Well, it's always great to be wrong, because what a performance from OPETAIA. Started really strong and completely obliterated Jordan Thompson, who looked really out of his depth. I thought in the first round, well, obviously OPETAIA started quickly. I think that was a really good strategy by OPETAIA. It's always hard when you go to the opposition's backyard, and in this case it was at Wembley Stadium in London. And it really gives the more inexperienced fighter just something more to think about. It put him right on the back foot right from the word go. And I don't think he encountered or planned on OPETAIA coming out the way that he did. I thought that he thought OPETAIA might come out and feel him out a little bit more, maybe take a few rounds to find his range, giving Jordan Thompson a little bit more time to get used to a world championship fight, of course. Massive fight for him, biggest fight obviously of his career so far. It was 15-0 and 12 knockouts he was. But for OPETAIA to come out straight off the bat, put him on the back foot, I thought was a really, really good game plan, if that was indeed the game plan. So, as I said, OPETAIA started very, very quickly, very busy. Now, I'm sure Jordan Thompson wasn't used to this either. Normally the big boys like just to fight at an okay pace and, as I said, find their way. OPETAIA came out fighting like a middleweight. He came out fast. And I thought Jordan Thompson looked very, very tentative to start, looked very nervous, and to be quite frank, a little bit out of his depth. Now, that's not OPETAIA's fault. As I said in the preview, we'd had probably 3 or 4 opponents that didn't really come to the party to fight Jai, so we took the next best thing available, and that was, of course, Jordan Thompson. And full credit, of course, to Jordan Thompson for stepping up. But as I said, he looked completely out of his depth. And the fact that Jai started really quick did not give him a chance to settle at all. And I thought that he was it looked a little bit robotic. I think I said that in my preview as well. And Jai just totally made him look like the inexperienced guy that he was and is. So round one, completely in OPETAIA's favour. And in effect, fight almost could have been over then. Jai hurt him late, and Jordan Thompson had to hang on, or try to hang on. I don't really think he had the nous and the experience or the ability to really do what the experienced fighters do and hang on and clinch and everything else. He was just sort of reaching for Jai, who just kept punching. It was a great performance from Jai in that first round. As I said, another 10 to 15 seconds and that fight would have been over right then. Credit to Jordan Thompson in the second round, but it was to hang in there, but it was pretty much the same thing. Jai pushing the pace, throwing lots of punches, really putting it on Jordan Thompson. OPETAIA extremely busy, and he just continued to rock over and over and over again. The inexperienced Thompson, who by the end of the round was bloodied. He was looking like a defeated fighter, I will say, after just 2 rounds. And as I said at the start, it was really a credit to Jai's team and himself to start quickly and really put Thompson on the back foot. And he did it to perfection. So round 3, totally one-sided, and again, the fight could have been over then. One-sided round. Thompson rocked over and over again. OPETAIA dominant. I know it just seems like I'm saying the same thing every round, but that's clearly what it was. The first 3 rounds were just Jai dominance. He had Thompson's measure in every single department. And, of course, then he dropped. Had him rocked anyway, Jordan Thompson. And the fight, again, could have been almost stopped. With Thompson saved by the bell at the end of the 3rd round. And just 20-odd seconds into the 4th round, it was all over. Jai sensing it was done. Jordan Thompson, I think in between rounds, his corner did say, look, you got to show us something. That's really rare. 3 rounds into a championship fighter will say that the corner's saying, show us something or we're going to stop it. And I'm really surprised too that the referee probably didn't step in a little bit earlier as well. But 20-odd seconds into the 4th round, bang, 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 and it is all over. The referee stepped in as Jordan Thompson was going down, and Jai, ecstatic, over the moon, as you would expect him to be. Really happy for Jai and his team. As I said at the start, it's always really, really difficult to go to the opposition's backyard and put on that type of performance. And I just really think it was a statement fight by OPETAIA. I think he knew that he had Jordan Thompson's measure. and he didn't want to play with it. He didn't want to take any chances. He didn't want to muck around with this guy. He wanted to get in there. A lot of frustration probably coming out after being out for so long. I think it was, 14 or 15 months or something that he'd been out. So he was chomping at the bit. And you even saw it when he walked into the ring, the glare. He was on a mission. He looked like the hitman going into the ring, didn't he? And poor old Jordan Thompson paid the penalty for that. But look, again, really credit to Jordan Thompson. Sometimes you don't know you're completely out of your depth until you're completely out of your depth. And that's really what this was. And Jai, again, really happy, not just for the victory for himself and his team, but the fact that the English fans and by association, the worldwide fans saw what we've known for how many years, that Jai OPETAIA is the real deal. He is going to be the dominant cruiserweight in the world for as long as he wants to be, basically. And I've got no doubt there's not a lot of big fights for him at cruiserweight. So I think, without a doubt, within the next sort of maybe 12 to 18 months, you will find him going to heavyweight. But Eddie Hearn summed it up really well after the fight. He's full of respect for Jai OPETAIA. I know he's got to be a little bit careful. There's a few Englishmen out there in the cruiserweight division that he's got to, probably play the game with. But I thought he was very complimentary to Jai OPETAIA. And what more can you say about that performance? The main thing, as I said, is that he has made the statement to the world that he is the man. And I found it a little bit disappointing, I will say, though, that Marius Breedis was interviewed before the fight. Rolled out with all the excuses. Now, I wanted to sort of put him in the rearview mirror. Now I'm sort of hoping he gives him a rematch and really does a number on him, because I think this time you'll see Jai. You thought the first fight was all Jai. I think this fight will be even more one-sided to Jai OPETAIA. Not that the first one was one-sided, but I thought Jai won comprehensively. And I really would like to see him maybe fight Breedis again, just to put that exclamation mark on that little mini rivalry that they have. But apart from that, not a lot of big fights for Jai, and that's why I think he'll move up to heavyweight in the near future. So again, congratulations to Jai OPETAIA and the team. Credit to everyone involved. Just a great performance, and of course, all of us here in Australia are super proud of Jai, as I'm sure the Samoans out there as well. I did see they sung both national anthems before the fight, and it's good to see he's recognising both of his cultures. So again, all the best to Jai OPETAIA and Mark Wilson, his trainer, and Mick Francis, of course, his promoter as well. They all put in so much work to get Jai to where he is. So bigger and better things on in the future for Jai OPETAIA. Let's get on to the second fight of a Super Sunday here in Australia. I know it's Saturday elsewhere in the world at the time of recording this. But look, the fight probably pretty much went exactly the way I thought it would. I know a lot of people out there predicting CANELO by early to maybe mid-round stoppage. I think if you saw my preview, I said I thought CANELO would win by decision. I thought it might have been a little bit more competitive than it was, to be honest. I thought CANELO, right from the word go, was just the more dominant fighter. Look, again, credit to CHARLO for taking the fight, but really didn't show a lot, I didn't think. I thought the first round, if we just go through round by round, a quick analysis, I thought first round, not really much going on. I think I counted in the first round, it took CANELO 1 minute and 17 seconds to throw a punch. And in between that, I think CHARLO had thrown 3 very, very light range-finding jabs. That's all he threw in the first sort of minute, was those 3. And it took, as I said, 1 minute and 17 for CANELO to even throw a punch. But when he did start throwing punches, well, geez, he got going, didn't he? Look, the first round, very, very, as I said, uneventful, but I just thought CANELO's slightly higher work rate got him that round 10-9. And it was probably at that point I thought, geez, CHARLO, that's not really what I wanted to see from him. I really wanted him to maybe start fast, because I think with CANELO, you've got to get his respect early. And I thought after that first round, you could almost see, even after 1 round, the writing was on the wall that CANELO knew he was in charge of that fight, and CHARLO was just way too reactive for me. And I would have liked to have seen him come out and just really put it on CANELO just a little bit. I know you got to be a little bit cautious in these big fights early, especially with a puncher like CANELO. But I wasn't filled with a lot of hope for CHARLO after that first round. So I thought the second round, Canelo looked, again, very, very aggressive, throwing those really big power punches. Charlo, I thought, was better than he was in the first, but again, showing Canelo way too much respect. Had some moments, but I thought Canelo landed the better shots. I gave him the second round 10-9 as well. The third round, Charlo still reluctant to engage. Canelo continued to land those, or tried to throw those big overhand rights, hooking to the head and body. And Charlo, again, really just in reactive mode. Had some success in the last 45 seconds or so, but just not doing enough. And I thought Canelo won the third round as well. The fourth round, much better round for Charlo. Landed a good hook, I thought, and a pretty good overhand right, which really got Canelo to spring into action. And from that point, the round actually was quite entertaining. The action really did heat up. Canelo, I thought, finished stronger again and won the fourth straight round. So after 4 rounds to 0 for Canelo Alvarez. Fifth round, I thought Charlo had a really, really good round. I think it's the only round I did give him, but I thought he was the busier fighter. Canelo looked to be almost taking a round off. Tried to unload a little bit later in the round, but not much sort of landed. And I thought Charlo just had enough success with a few of his combinations to take that round 10-9, so 4 rounds to 1. The sixth round, pretty even round, I thought. Charlo was attempting to go with Canelo in the exchanges. Canelo continuing to throw those big overhand rights and left hooks, and Jizzy was loading up on him. And Charlo was really looking to counter, which, again, I just don't think is the right game plan to beat Canelo. I think you've got to be more proactive than reactive. And Canelo landed the better punches to win another round, 10-9. Round number 7, the first knockdown of the fight, and only knockdown as well. Big overhand right from Canelo, followed by that right uppercut. I thought Charlo did really well to survive and kept Canelo off for the remainder of the round. Canelo went for the kill, but I think he probably saw pretty quickly that Charlo maybe a little bit buzzed earlier, but wasn't really there for the taking. And he'd already won the round 10-8, so I can understand that Canelo just probably took the foot off the accelerator just a little bit and won the round 10-8. Round number 8, Canelo comes out looking to finish it, but I thought Charlo boxed really well and kept Canelo off him. Canelo continuing again to land those big hooks to the head and body, and that was enough to give him the round 10-9. So really after 8 rounds, 7 rounds to 1, with the 10-8 round, it's pretty much all over. Round number 9, look, I thought it was an even or more even round. I thought Charlo probably came to life a little bit, threw a few more punches. And Canelo, again, as he's done for the whole fight, trying to cut off the ring and just corner and throw those Charlo and throw those big overhand rights. Charlo had some moments, but Canelo finished stronger. I gave him the round 10-9. I think a couple of the judges might have given it to Charlo, but I thought that Canelo just shaded it, and after 9 rounds, it's 8 rounds to 1. Round number 10, Charlo on the move. Canelo continues to put the pressure on. Same sort of theme for the whole fight so far. I thought Charlo landed a couple of good punches, but Canelo far more effective. And those big bombs that he was throwing, I just thought it was enough to give him the round 10-9. Round number 11, much the same again. Another Canelo round. Canelo being way more aggressive. Charlo on the move. Canelo continuing to throw hooks again to the head and body. And Charlo looking to counter. Just deja vu again. Canelo 10-9. And round number 12, fight finishes pretty much the way that it started. Canelo trying to cut off the ring and throw those big bombs. Charlo on the move, looking to counter. Charlo was busy-ish. Canelo, again, continued to throw those big shots. And I think I gave the last round to Canelo more so for work rate rather than any big, meaningful punches thrown. So my final scorecard, I had at 119-108, which is the same scorecard that Steve Farhood, he's the Showtime boxing and analyst on the telecast, had exactly the same as me. Gave all the same rounds that I did. I think the official scores were 119-108, and the other two were 108-107. I think it was. Or sorry, 118-109. I think were the other two scores by the judges. I'm not going to argue with any of those two. I think the two judges that had it 118-109 gave Charlo the 9th round, but not the 5th round, where the other judge gave it the 5th round and not the 9th round. But either way, exactly the way I had it. I thought apart from the 5th and 9th round, Canelo won every single round of the fight. Quite comprehensive. comprehensively. Look, for the performance itself, I thought it's probably the best I've seen Canelo in his last few fights. Of course, he lost to Bivol, looked terrible in that fight. I think that was more due to Bivol, not necessarily Canelo. His last two fights, Triple G, hard to gauge because Triple G really didn't turn up the fight. And John Ryder, I thought, was in survival mode as well. Canelo has said that he was carrying injuries into both those fights as well. But I really like this Canelo, and I think after the fight he said himself that no one beats this Canelo. That remains to be seen. But I really liked the fact that he looked very healthy in his body and, more importantly, in his mind. He really looked switched on. Look, Charlo made it a lot easier than what I think he could have. And I know, again, it's easy from outside the ring to say he should have done this and he should have done that. But I really would have liked to have seen JERMELL Charlo start fast and really try and put it on Canelo early to try and get his respect. Because the minute Canelo starts backing you up and fighting at his own pace and having room to throw those big bombs, you're in a lot of trouble. And Charlo, I think beforehand, I've seen his trainer in the change rooms imploring him to, you could sort of see by what he was saying with his hands, to move to the left, move to the right, not in a straight line. And that's what he continued to do. He kept backing up to the ropes and allowing Canelo to pin him there, to throw those big overhand rights and hooks to the head and body. And I just don't think he gave, or I think he gave, way too much to respect to Canelo. And that can happen. Canelo is a Hall of Fame fighter, a legend of the sport. You have to give him his respect that he deserves, but you're not going to win the fight against him if you just simply allow him to dictate the pace, be reactive instead of proactive. And I just think JERMELL Charlo really just went through the motions for 12 rounds, and I don't think at any stage of the fight really bit down on his mouth guard and said, I'm going to try and win this fight. And I just expected more. And as I said at the start, I know a lot of people didn't think much of Charlo's chances, but I thought if he fought the right kind of fight, he could really give Canelo some problems, but he just didn't turn up. And that's disappointing considering this guy was the undisputed 154-pound champion. And sometimes those fighters, they're the type of fighters that go out on the shield. All in the past, the great fighters over the years that were at that standing, if they got beaten, they always went out on the shield. And I just didn't think Charlo did that. And I know a lot of fighters, the way they go about it and their demeanour and everything else is different to others. But I, for one, even though I picked Canelo to win, just thought that Charlo might have put it on the line a little bit more, and he just didn't. He had a few little patches during the fight, but as I said, at no stage did he even look to trouble Canelo, who just pretty much shook his head, took a deep breath, and got back to business. So that was probably the only disappointing thing for me. But full props to Charlo in the fact that he actually took the fight in the first place. As disappointing as I thought his performance was, the fact that he took the fight, dared to be great, as they say, same as what Canelo did when he stepped up to fight Bivol and Kovalov as well. Charlo went from 154 to 168, so you have to give him credit for that. And I don't think he was too concerned afterwards. He did say, surprisingly, he's going to go back to 154. Whether that happens or not, it remains to be seen. Of course, he's no longer the undisputed champion. Tim Tszyu is now the full WBO 154-pound champion. I know Charlo will still be regarded as the champion, of course, until he actually loses it or relinquishes the belts. But at this stage, he's no longer the undisputed champion. So again, I'd be surprised if he goes back. And if he does go back, I've still got a bit of a suspicion he won't fight Tim Tszyu. I think if he goes back, it'll be to fight Terence Crawford or nobody. I think that's the only fight that will get him back to 154, which I know is not good news for Tim Tszyu and his fans. But that's the sort of the feel I get from it, because he was asked after the fight, would he fight the Tszyu-Mendoza winner, and didn't really commit either way. He just called out Terence Crawford. So I think if he's going to go back to 154, it's Terence Crawford or bust. I hope I'm wrong, of course, but that's just the way I sort of read it when he said that. So overall, look, great night of boxing. A quick look at the undercard, I will say. The Erickson, Lubin, and Jesus Ramos fight. I thought Ramos got ripped. I thought he won that fight. And the fact that Lubin was declared the pretty comprehensive winner, I could not get my head around. I probably had it, worst case 7 rounds to 5 for Ramos. I think he took the last couple of rounds off, which in hindsight could have maybe got him a draw. I think two of the cards, if you had a, actually, no, it wouldn't have been, because I think it was one was 117, 115. Sorry, 115, 113. So if you had a not one, let those last couple of rounds slip, you might have won it on that card. But the other one was 117, 111. The other one was 116, 112. So it was a comprehensive win for Ericsson Lubin. So I don't agree with it. Be interesting to hear what you guys have to say. But I thought Ramos won that fight comprehensively. Did take the loss really well, probably a little bit too well if you ask me. But good to see he's got a that temperament where he's not going to get too excited about losing a fight. He's 22 years old. He said, look, I'm just going to come back bigger and better. And on the other fight of the card of note was the Mario Barrios and Ugas fight. I was surprised. I did pick Ugas to win that fight. Haven't been really impressed by Barrios over the last few fights that he's had. But he surprised me, and full credit to him. Very, very clear-cut winner over Dennis Ugas to win that WBC interim title. So best of luck to him. And he's going to have some good fights out there. I don't think it'll be a Spencer Crawford. I think those guys will move up. I don't think they're really interested in a Barrios fight. But who knows? He might get a shot at Boot Dennis or one of these guys. But very, very pleasantly surprised at the performance of Mario Barrios. I thought he fought a very, very smart fight. So that's it for this review, guys. It'll be interesting to see how you saw it. I'm assuming you all saw it the same way as me. Both clear-cut wins for the favourite in Canelo and Jai OPETAIA. But really good day of fights. Big day of watching the fights. And what else are you going to do on a lazy Sunday here in Australia, I suppose, except kick back and watch about 10 hours worth of boxing. So, again, interesting to hear what you guys thought. Put it in the comments below. And until next time, we'll see you then.